And when that deployment comes, it won't just be the National Guard, but other federal law enforcement agencies as well, including Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE. And over the course of the year, ICE raids across the country have made headlines as immigrant communities report rising levels of fear that they could be arrested and deported. Joining us now to talk more about the state of the immigration situation in the U.S. is Casey Bryant with Advocates for Immigrant Rights. Welcome to 3 at 3.
Hi, thanks so much for having me.
Thank you for being here. And of course, we're on the cusp of the National Guard coming in to kind of patrol everything here. We don't know what to expect. But what are your concerns, your agency's concerns, as we get ready for the Guard?
Yeah, my concerns are that there's going to be an increased enforcement and immigration action in our city. If there's not increased enforcement, there's at least increased fear of enforcement, which is going to kind of put a halt to regular operations, I think, in all kinds of sectors of labor in this city. Yeah.
Because you just don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, nobody knows. I mean, are there going to be checkpoints? Is there going to be a line of armed people on the street? I mean, are people going to be are armed military going to be in churches or at grocery stores? I mean, we just have no idea, right?
And how do you fear that they're going to be working with ICE and also just bringing people in? Because we've seen the ICE raids here in our community.
Oh yeah, the raids have been ongoing really since January. Yeah, I mean, I think what my organization is expecting and other community groups are that the National Guard is going to be sort of paired with Immigration and Customs Enforcement officers to go out and do immigration enforcement in a much bigger way than we've seen before.
So how are you preparing for that? What are you telling immigrants to do, and what advice are you giving them?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, our organization is preparing just by shoring up the services that we already provide to the immigrant community across Tennessee, Arkansas, and Mississippi. For the community, we're trying to educate people on what the possibilities are and the probability of someone being detained by Immigration and Customs Enforcement, what would be the aftermath of that kind of detention. And for each individual person, it's totally different. So we're advising people to at least seek advice from attorneys so that they can understand what their possibilities are if they were to get detained. Because not everyone who gets detained is going to get deported. Most people who haven't gone through immigration proceedings in the past are going to get a chance to argue their case to stay in the United States.
And that's what we're seeing, a lot of people just not knowing what to do and what your rights are,
yeah,
and what you say and how you act, and all of that goes into just preparing people.
That's right. You know, so I think out in the community, people call this Know Your Rights training or Know Your Rights understanding. It's about really understanding what the Constitution provides for each individual in this country, regardless of immigration status or citizenship. So it's the rights under the Fourth Amendment of the Constitution: a right to privacy, a right against unlawful search and seizure. The Constitution also gives rights to due process in immigration court. You know, it's kind of the foundation of the idea of innocent until proven guilty.
And yeah, we haven't heard as much about it in the last few weeks or so, but are those raids still going on? Because we've seen some at businesses, place of businesses. We've seen some Taco and Ganas. We saw that. And of course, in the courts, when people are going to court,
yep,
leave court and they are detained.
In the last couple of weeks, it's been a little slow. And you know, out in the community, people think that this is the calm before the storm. Yeah.
Also want to get your thoughts on, we have a new facility opening up in Mason, not far from here. Before, they had to be taken to Louisiana, which is further away. Do you think that this is going to be just an indication of more enforcement that we're going to see because it's so close and you can detain everybody right here?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is a facility that was open for use in the immigration context in years past. It had closed down, and so it's reopening. It's reopening with 600 beds available for people to be housed. And I think that across the country, new facilities are opening up so that the private prison industry can meet the need of what the government is trying to do to detain people. thousands and thousands of beds have opened up across the country, not just the one in Mason, Tennessee. So,
and we know around the country all of those beds in other places have filled up. So we can only expect that that's going to happen here as well.
That's right. That's right. And we don't know where people are going to be placed, or if they're not going to go to Louisiana if they're detained here and they're going to go to Mason, or we don't know if it's a stopping point yet. It's still really early to tell.
A lot of wait and see. And very quickly, I have talked to some of the immigrant families, and they talk about the process of becoming legal in the U.S., how difficult it is, and why so many people try to circumvent that, because it's just a process that people, costly, a long time, don't want to wait on. What can you say about that? Is it that difficult to become a U.S. citizen?
Yeah, absolutely it is. And I would say that people aren't circumventing the process. They're not eligible for the process to begin with, because the process itself is so limited to a certain kind of people, a certain kind of person with a certain type of eligibility. And so not everyone is eligible to even become a citizen. And it's a very, there's different ways that someone can become eligible, but it's totally different for each person. But the process, the shortest kind of process could take 5 years. The longest kind of process could take
Forever.
25 years. Yeah, forever. And so it really does vary by person. And, you know, there is this idea that everyone should just do it the right way, but the right way is different for every single person, too.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah.
And your organization out there ready to help people when they're needed, just call on you.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. Back in a moment.